Today is Thursday, February 26th, and I got a little update on the whole situation with the lawsuit regarding non-domiciled CDLs. But before I get to that, I'd like to say that there's a bunch of people that are a bunch of hypocrites because the same people that are commenting in my video, hey, I'm sorry, but this is America and laws are the same people that are out there making videos wanting change from ELD to paper log. So if you really believe laws are laws, then why the fuck are you trying to get your own shit, you know? Why are you getting your own thing trying to get take away? So, kind of a hypocrite, but all right. I had to get that out of my system. Before I get into details on what happened today, I'd like to give a little summary of what we've been going through. Basically, the new rule was announced on the September 26th. Then it went into effect on September 29th. A couple weeks later, we filed the lawsuit for against the rule, and then we filed a motion to stay. A couple of weeks after that, the courts went ahead and granted the motion to stay, which then put the rule on hold or on pause. We expected the states to start reissuing the CDLs, and obviously they didn't. Some did, most didn't, right? The states that did started issuing them again. Then what happened, Sean Duffy came and said, we're going to audit all these states. FMCSA started threatening these states, right? FMCSA went after each state and publicly made a statement saying, yeah, they have to pause because we found out that they've been issuing it the wrong way. So then those states stopped. California then tried to give the states back, the CDLs back, because based on FMCSA, you're supposed to revoke and reissue. So they were trying to reissue them, but then FMCSA, you got this whole fucking beef, right? Sean Duffy versus Newsom. They had a little fucking Twitter drama and shit, X drama. And they're like, yeah, Newsom is lying. And then they're just pointing fingers. But at the end of the day, the people in the middle are people like you, people like me that are stuck, right? So then California was supposed to reissue them. FMCSA blocked them. So then a couple of law firms sued California. And then that's when we have the results of this. That's when we have the results of these current news about the lawsuit for California. I don't have much information on those, so I'm not going to do videos on those yet. So then what happened was FMCSA requested that the lawsuit that we're involved be placed on hold because they're going to create a new lawsuit. No, let me start back. Let's cut it. So then FMCSA requested that the whole case be placed in advance. In other words, be on hold because they're going to come up with a new rule, and there's no point in wasting time fighting this one if we're going to come up with a new one. We honestly expected that the new rule will be more compromising and more I don't want to say flexible, more realistic. You can't just take us all out. Like what happened to being innocent to proving guilty? That's the type of mentality we had. Obviously, we're wrong. The FMCSA had a whole different strategy, and they pretty much just doubled down. They doubled down on their claims. It went from 5 accidents to 17 suddenly. And then, have in mind, 17 among thousands and thousands of accidents, right? So you do the math there. Now, this is very important. This is where I think people are getting confused. Originally, this lawsuit that we filed, and the FMCSA requested the lawsuit to be placed on hold. They required to give an update by March, someday in March, right? Now, FMCSA went ahead, instead of going and waiting for that, they pretty much dropped the new rule on February, I believe it was 11 or so. And when we saw the rule, we're like, what the fuck? It's pretty much the same thing. Like, you guys just added more accidents, and you guys are now doubling down on your claims. And pretty much the whole thing with DACA, it doesn't make sense. So, technically, by them doing this rule on the 11th, it kind of fulfilled that requirement that was needed in March. So now what happened? We filed another lawsuit, and then the courts kind of consolidated both cases. They put both cases together, and since the first case is on hold, then obviously this one's on hold too. Then obviously there's a whole different process. Now it's not, it's a lot of legal terms that I don't want to mix things up. But today we have filed a motion to stay, meaning we want the rule to get paused. Now, a lot of people won't agree with that, but let me explain why. I spent for the last hour reading this motion, and because yes, even though the news tells you I can read English, couple pointers is, let me see, I got my cheat sheet right here. Pretty much the arguments that the courts the FMCs are making are pretty much bullshit. Because they're pretty much cherry picking 17 accidents among thousands and thousands of accidents, which, based on those numbers, show that we don't cause all the accidents. The other one is that they're saying that this rule, it's based on safety, but they're gonna get rid of a bunch of experienced drivers, and that's gonna cause a shortage. That not a shortage of drivers, but somebody has to take those spots, right? So they're gonna have to hire new drivers that have new CDLs or youngsters or rookies, and based on their own data, people that have new CDLs cause more accidents. So it's a contradiction. The other one is, let me see, the dates. Pretty much FMCSA required non-domiciles with the H-2B visas, and those, they require them to go and correct their work permit with their CDL. And what we're saying is, using that argument that the work permit does not match the CDL, it is not related to safety. That's a whole immigration thing. But with that being said, it could be a simple solution as to why not reissue, like revoke and reissue, and make them match. The fact that they're just taking the approach to take us all out and still say it's about safety, it doesn't make sense. Let me see. The other one is, as far as DACA, on the DACA side, they're saying that they can't. They are arguing about DACA doesn't make sense, because they're saying that pretty much their employees or the clerks in the DMVs aren't able to distinguish the difference between an EAD belonging to a DACA recipient and a regular one. And our arguments are like, okay, instead of saying we can't get it as a DACA, why not train the people right? Why not give them better training? You know, it's just, I mean, I could go a long way. I can make a full video about this, and this is going to be long. But I invite you guys to read. Go ahead and find a way to get those documents and read them yourselves. I actually, man, I was very happy. I was very happy reading these arguments, and I think they're pretty strong, to be honest with you. Now, you know, the whole English part, the English proficiency, you know, if you can't speak English, you should be driving the road. That's a whole separate thing. That's ELP, like I've been saying many times. If you guys want people to not speak other languages, then pretty much enforce ELP. Has nothing to do with this rule. And yes, like I said, there's a bunch of other stuff that I could say that are being argued. But I invite you guys to read the documents. I believe you can pull it out with that form I posted, and you guys could do your own reading, own research. But yeah, we're still fighting this, and I know people don't agree with it, but I believe you guys should watch the bigger picture here. You know, they kept making these news articles saying, hey, you know, we're getting these CDLs to these illegals. And then it's not true. Then you have this whole thing with the Delilah law, right? People are saying, hey, man, it doesn't matter because they're going to pass this law. It's not a law yet. It's just introduced. And we already know when it comes to laws, they're going to revise them. They're going to revise them, and a bunch of shit happens. I'm still hopeful. That law says they're not going to give CDLs to undocumented people, but like I've been saying, we're not undocumented, so we'll see what's up. And one more thing, a bunch of people are hitting me up and asking me about this whole thing with California, this lawsuit with California. I don't have information on it. I see a couple articles, but I don't see why the Sikh coalition hasn't officially announced anything. So until I see that, I guess I'm not making a video about it, because I've learned that articles copy each other. So let's say Overdrive brings out an article, Freight Waves will come out with another one. So right now there's like 2 or 3 articles that I've seen, but nothing official from the courts, or nothing official from the Sikh or the Asian caucus, which are the ones suing. So I'm not gonna do a video on that, because I just don't know what that one is, because it's very confusing. It says that people are gonna get their CDLs back temporarily, but then it says it's gonna offer a new ruling sometime this week. So it's like, is it temporarily for a couple of days or what? It doesn't make sense. So I just want to keep you guys posted, and I'll let you guys know what's going on.